week. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for March 25th, 2021. Qs down 0.17. Had a pretty decent rally there in the afternoon to erase some of the losses there. Little bounce off the lows there. And SPY rally as well into the declining 20 here. Okay, so coming into today, neutral. And you can see kind of as we finish things out, Qs a little bit flat, SPY 0.56, but we were looking for potential follow through in the break of this range. Okay, and there it is on the SPY, very similar on the Qs. So we did get that. So even though the Qs and SPY are going to close not that different, a little bit unchanged in SPY, even up, going to be looking for tomorrow as the initiation of the bearish bias. Okay. Those of you that have already taken TPM, know the setups, know that we're trying to form a sell setup here on the hourly. Okay. Now the big kind of wrench into this whole thing is the daily on the SPY. Okay. SPY, okay, still a pullback into support. So the daily on the SPY here is still in an uptrend. Okay. We actually talked about this too right after the close here. What's interesting is that we got the SPY that's still in an uptrend, potentially putting in a higher low. We have the IWM, which is looking like a double top, right, and retesting the bottom here. So the IWM is forming more of a kind of a trendless pattern. See how the 20 MA starting to flatten out here as well? It reflects price. You know, averages, if it's going sideways or if we're trendless, you're going to get a flat 20 MA. Qs, on the other hand, is pointing down. And then the hourly, right, is also got the downtrend here. So to sum up all of that, you know, Q, SPY, and IWM are all kind of looking different, right? A little bit more bullish on the SPY, a little bit more bearish on the Qs, and IWM in the middle. Okay, what they are all doing that is the same, though, is not the daily chart. It is the hourly. The hourly, they've all started this hourly downtrend and potentially going to do a higher low. So tomorrow, if we get more of a rally into the declining 20 and then we break underneath the previous bar's low, we'll have the trigger of the sell setup that'll likely require Monday to follow through on the potential sell setup or fail on it. So it's going to need a trigger and then go out back up and fail. If it fails on it, you know, neutral probably across the board. Otherwise, we're going to be kind of anticipating either tomorrow afternoon or Monday for the start of the bearish bias. Okay, so it's not going to be tomorrow morning. Okay, unless we gap down or something like that changes, then we'll see. If we gap down, I would expect follow through just because today we got a little bit of that bounce. We talked about yesterday. If we get a gap down, it's not going to be a good time to short. Okay, because it's going to be extended down. So if we get a gap down, we would expect follow through, gap up, just like we said yesterday, then more choppiness probably because we'll be gapping up into resistance. Okay, so still, as it has been this week, more of a wait and see approach on the Qs and SPY, and this kind of back and forth choppiness here should resolve itself eventually. So, and then we'll have a better read on things. Okay. Let's go over the plays from today. First call this morning was the OI. This was just a breakout right in here. Breakout on something gapping up, market gapping down a little bit. I got a good question on it. Isn't this right at resistance, right? Which it was. But notice this is a pro gap, basing at the resistance, relative strength to the market. So on something like this that's dealing with the resistance, because the entry was over 313, basing right at it. We gapped over all these bars. Anyone that's been short this the last few days, still in it, does need to cover. Anybody that's got shaken out of it long doesn't want to miss the next move up, has to get back in it long. So normally if this weren't a gap, then I would be less inclined to play something like this, that's about to break out, mostly above resistance. But this kind of gave us the go ahead because there's momentum in this gap up, right? So that was the gap on the OI. That's where the design of the play starts. First, we're bearish or bullish on it because of the gap up, and then we get consolidation. 1 minute, 20 MA catches up, and then we break out. Targets were 1340. You can see here back into this area where it kind of consolidated before 1340. back into the congestion from here. 1360 was target 2. I was looking for 1380 as the next target. The problem was, and it eventually got there. The problem was, is this, look at the 2 minute. We got in it. You know, where am I gonna trail this? Where am I gonna put the stop? Bar after bar after bar, right? There's no pivots, there's nothing. So when we were up here, I said, go ahead, trail the whole thing 2 minute bar by bar. Okay, so we got trailed out of it. Now, I wouldn't have been able to survive this pullback anyway because of where the bottom of that base was, where we put the stop, would have gotten shaken out. But there was a chance to re-enter. And I did not play the re-entry, but for me, if there was kind of the best entry for re-entry is there. You get a 5 minute base, 2 minute base. Above the 20 MA on the 5, above the 20 MA on the 2. This is okay. This is fine. I know some people mentioned this as well, which worked really nicely. But for me, it's a little bit too deep on the pullback. Came in a little bit too much. So I would have to wait for next entry, and that's exactly what that is. Okay. Sammy had a call on the NBIX. As it transitioned here, here's the deep pullback. He waited for secondary entry. That was pretty nice as well as the EOLS in the afternoon here underneath this base. Okay. So those were the calls from today. All right. And of course, there's some other things that we're watching, some ideas and some scalps, but those were what was in the announcement box. Okay. All right. So tomorrow is the last chance. If you haven't got to check out the open house, and if you are still checking it out, you know, tomorrow get to see the last day of the week there as we finish up the last day. So if you haven't gotten a chance, tomorrow's the last day. Otherwise, hopefully I'll see you come Monday. Okay. All right. That's going to do it for today's market wrap. Hope you did well today. We will be back at it tomorrow. Have a good rest of the day.